Y'all. This is DJ Lady Jock from Music My Way on 88.1 KDHX. And today we will be speaking to the legendary group Raydio. How y'all doing, fellas?
Pretty good. And yourself?
Great. Good.
Oh, I'm awesome. This is an honor. I mean, let me see. Was I like 4 or 5 years old when y'all probably came out with him? Yeah, we ain't gonna go there, but yeah, I was.
So were we.
Oh boy. I'm gonna start out like, what city are you guys from?
So the guys are out of Detroit originally. Vincent, I'll let you start off and go ahead and give them the lowdown.
We from Detroit. That's where the band is from.
Detroit, Michigan.
Wow. Home of the Motown. So Barry Gordon was probably already gone when y'all formed, correct?
No. Well, Vincent, you can answer that one. He used to live right around the corner from Motown. So
Oh wow. I'm gonna start with Mr. Arnell. So how did you get into music, and who inspired, who were you
I've been asked that question a million times.
Yeah, me and Giovanni can read because this is a 2-hour story.
Oh,
how did you get into music?
Yeah, I won't, because we got to go from the start. We got to know how you get into the music before we get into the band part.
Start, it would be my father had a record company, so that's he owned D-Town, which is 9 houses away from Motown. So Detroit happened to be such a melting pot of record companies and production companies that all of us at the time in the set group of musicians were coming from some musical background. So remember, this is Detroit. This is not like Phoenix, Arizona. It's Detroit, Michigan. So it's a lot of background. He had again, many artists, and as a young kid, the first record that I actually heard, 45, was from his company.
Wow.
Song called Detroit, Michigan. Kid Rock actually recorded that song.
Okay, that's deep there. Okay. a lot of stuff was going. I mean, there's a lot of artists that came from Detroit, and a lot of I got to come up there and visit one day. I'm quite sure, I don't know what all is there now, but I really had, because it seemed like it's a lot of history, because it seemed like a lot of groups came out of Detroit besides the Motown area.
Oh yeah, exactly. So my inspiration, it's really funny because I kept saying, you know what, if I do music, maybe I can pay my way through college. That's what I thought.
It didn't happen.
No, not the way I wanted it to happen. It didn't happen. And then being inspired was kind of different for me because I had so many people around me that I was just like, wait a minute, everybody is inspiring. At a young age, you had people like Joe Harris, Joe Pep, who left a D-Town group to become what's that group that made Smiling Faces?
Undisputed Truth.
He became the Undisputed Truth. You had Cody Black, which you wouldn't know about, Emmanuel Lasky, D. Edwards, just so many acts. Then as you grow, you venture out into other communities, meet other people, which is how I met Energy, which led me into Ray Parker, the guys in Energy, Vincent Bonham here, Eric Wallace, Dwayne Ufuma Wallace, Gordon Carlton. I could just name a bunch of musicians. Marvin Carlton, rest his soul. It was just like a way of life for us. Because at that time in the late 60s, going into the 70s, you could pretty much perform on a street corner and get paid. So inspiration was everywhere, sweetie.
I like that answer. Next question. How do y'all come up with the name Raydio? And how did the group get? How y'all get started? How did y'all get all the members? How did it get started, and how y'all come up with the name?
Well, that name was not invented by any of us here. That name was for Ray Parker and Clive Davis and at Arista decided, they wanted to push Ray Parker Jr. And Ray Parker Jr. wanted to push a group. So believe it or not, true story, I'm living in his house at the time. He comes in, he knocks on the door and says, "Wake up, I got a name for the group." And I said, "What is it?" He said, "We just figured it out. It's Raydio. And this phone has low battery, 20%.
No, we're cool. We've got plenty of it'll stretch.
So anyway, at that point, the same day, they were talking about the record release for the word Raydio, no, the name of the group Raydio. Of course, the single was Jock and Jill, but Heatwave put out their first Boogie Nights record, and we were all releasing records that week, same week. No, true story. Wow. So it was Raydio. From that point on, Jack and Jill, You Can't Change. Nah, Jack and Jill, Love Thing, Sex Thing. That first album, just a lot of good songs on that album.
But it's obviously a great play on words though too, right? I mean, Ray and then radio, So I mean, I wasn't there. I wasn't even born, so I can't imagine, the different thoughts that maybe came into, before Ray came up with Raydio. But I always thought it was a cool play on words. Even when I first heard the music through my father and listening to the tapes and the CDs and all that kind of stuff that he was playing of Arnell and Vincent and Ray and all the other guys' music. So I mean, what cooler than Ray Parker, Raydio? You want to hear the music, right?
Okay. I hear you. All right, G. All right, I'm gonna call you G. I'm not even gonna call you government now. I'm gonna call you G.
Everybody calls me G.
Government name.
Oh, right on. So you guys were signed to Clive Davis record label, Arista, with your first big hit, Jack and Jill. Now, everybody mentioned Jack and Jill in their song. Now, I just know it from being a nursery rhyme. So
right, exactly.
Y'all come. Tell me about Jack and Jill, because this was y'all biggest hit. I just like it as a nursery rhyme, but all I'm gonna say is poor Jill.
Well,
it really wasn't the biggest hit. It was just the first hit.
Go ahead, Vincent.
A bunch of stuff was bigger than that. Ghostbusters, Can't Change That.
Two places
at the same time.
Woman Needs Love.
Woman Needs Love. All those were actually bigger hits.
But that Jack and Jill got y'all out there though.
Yeah, that was the very beginning. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
When we went into the studio, when it was being recorded, I actually didn't believe in the song, but I didn't say anything. And that was the clue that, wait a minute, if I just be quiet and sit back and watch it happen, which it did. The real back of the story is that Clive Davis wanted that song more than Diana Ross wanted it, because Ray had pitched it to Diana Ross, and when Clive Davis found out that there were other people who wanted the song, he actually said, "No, we're gonna sign this deal and get things going." So Jack and Jill, being the nursery rhyme that it was, made its way onto the scene based upon the fact that Ray Parker Jr. wrote it, trying to sell it to another artist, but it didn't happen.
Wow, Diana Ross, they passed this on. They just wouldn't been a good fit for Diana Ross. I'm just saying, but I love Diana Ross, but I'm just saying that song. Okay,
that I'll give you that. It doesn't really sound like a Diana Ross song, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's different sound, and let her stay over there. But
I should let her stay over there.
I love her to death. Trust me, I love her to death. I just know that wouldn't been a good fit for her. Mm-hmm. Okay, my next question. So what do you think about today's music?
Whoa. I don't. Vincent might want to answer that.
Come on, Vincent.
he don't think about it.
Take that.
Depends on who it is and what they're doing. You know, it's a lot of good artists. It's a lot of terrible artists. You know, it's a lot of rap. It's a lot of hip hop. But it's good and bad in that. You know, it's a lot of people recording today that's using old school techniques and old school grooves, like Bruno Mars. What can you say bad about Bruno Mars? You know, he just like he came up in the 70s like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, he getting a lot of fire bombs thrown at him right about now.
But I think that's unjust though for people to do that to him. I think that
Mm-hmm.
even though I don't really listen to a lot of it, but we're in a different time period.
Yeah.
And the social media of this doesn't think about what you did to get there and how you started. And most of his mentors were Black men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the people that pushed him along were closer to a more R&B contemporary than rock and roll. So he picks the right people. He hires the right guys. You know, you just start making deals. You know, I think that people should back off of that because he's employing 4 or 5, maybe 6 other Black people that work behind him. You see him on stage. Every time he performs, they're on it. He just made a deal with Anderson .Paak where they put out a Black record as far as what we believe to be a rhythm of R&B, a rhythm and blues. I actually watched how that grew through the internet. And I thought, because of what people had said about, he's a culture vulture. And I was like, nah, let's not call him that. He's a little bit smarter than that.
Yeah, that just about, yeah, you hit that on the nose. You hit that on the nose. Yeah, it's totally, I mean, for me to be a DJ, it's some of it I can deal with. Some of it I just like, nah, get that out of here. Just stick with what you were doing. And that's it. I'm just going to keep it real. If it don't make sense, don't throw that stuff in my face.
Right, exactly.
All right. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Bruno Mars just happens to be, to me, my opinion, only closer to what real R&B should have been in the progress. And there's probably been a bunch of Black guys online who've said, you know what, I make records like that. Well, but you didn't do the extra work that he did to make it get to that point so that DJ Jock would be playing your record.
There you go.
So he's doing all right. We get a kid a pass.
All right, we'll give him a pass. Okay, all right. This question for G, man, how you hook up with this legendary group?
Oh man, well I tell you what, first let me say, it was definitely a blessing and an honor. But so, I actually had met Arnell initially first, and I met him. You got a music community online, things like that or whatnot. And I actually have been in the music business on the promoting side of things with Flow Rider. I work with Flow Rider, and I also work with the Yin Yang Twins in the very beginnings of their success on live shows and things like that. So I met Flo back when Low came out, and I did a couple of things with him down in Mexico. I was playing basketball at the time, and basketball is part of entertainment, so that's how I got into the music thing. So I got out of it, the hip hop stuff at that time. It was just a bit much for me. It seemed fun, but it's a bit much. And when I got back home to Michigan, where I'm from, I kind of got the itch again to try to want to get into something. So I had came to Arnell, because Arnell also, he does private exclusive like guitar lessons, vocal lessons, things like that kind of thing or whatever. Remember, because when I met you,
I had a company called Ricochet Music.
Ricochet, yeah.
And he approached me through the internet.
Through Ricochet.
I don't know about guitar lessons.
Well, I didn't take any guitar lessons. No, I never took any guitar lessons. But so there were a couple other guys that we were trying to get something going or whatnot. And long story short, those guys fell by the wayside. Nothing ever ended up happening. We were trying to get like a little cover band going or whatnot. And then, the Unsung happened with Ray Parker Jr. and Raydio. So there's all this new interest, just like with a lot of the other old school acts that have had a whole new revibrance from Unsung happened for Raydio. People started asking questions, hey, where's Arnell at? And what's happening with the group and stuff like that. So me and Arnell got to kicking it just about, things happening. And then Vincent was in Michigan. He came back from California, was in Michigan. And things just kind of happened just like that, and then couple calls, I started getting my promoting thing back going and making some calls, and there was a big interest, a big desire, and that's just kind of how it happened.
Oh wow, this is an interesting story. Okay,
yeah, that was going on 7 years ago now. So yeah, Raydio's been back reactivated with Arnell Carmichael's Raydio for the last 7 years now.
Bravo. Yeah, I gotta come to St. Louis.
We definitely got to come to St. Louis.
We definitely got to come there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I came through there with Michael Henderson and who is that? Michael Henderson, the girl who sings Saturday Night, Monday, Tuesday.
Sherelle.
I can't. It was a concert. It was a really nice hall. I just can't think of exactly where it was, but I know it's in St. Louis though. But yeah.
Was it very small?
No, I probably thought it was like a 1,000 seater. Kind of a 1,000 seater place.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The ambassador. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to pass it on my big brother. So I would like to thank you all because this is this is old school. This is what I like. This is what I grew up on. And hey, I got 4 of y'all albums upstairs. 4.
DJ Lady Jock.
Got all 4. Got all 4.
Before you pass it over, I'd like to ask you a quick question. Now, we all know that you have a famous father. We all know that. You have a famous father. So yes. Now, was that just the whole initiation that gave you the itch to get into DJing? Was your father your complete inspiration? Or did it come later on in life? Or did you always know that you wanted to be DJ Lady Jock?
As a kid, I had always wanted to do it. But Daddy being Dad didn't want me to get into it. He wanted me to go to school, and he wanted me to become a nurse. I didn't want to become no nurse. I am in the health field, but I'm not a nurse. But I got a lot of certifications and stuff all under my belt. But as a kid, yes, it always inspired me to be one. I mean, been around the music. I have a musical family on my dad's side. Everybody sings. Nobody went to college and had vocal lessons or anything. Everybody started in church. So we got pianists, we have bass players, we have drummers. I'm probably the only horn player. I'm rusty, but me and Wiz gonna get our band together. He working on his guitar over there, so I got my sax, and now I'm working on the drums. But
that is an amazing history. That is an amazing history. Right,
yes, my dad and I've been hanging with Wiz for these last couple of years, and Wiz really been pushing me to do things, and he got me better than where I am now. So not only do I thank my dad, but I thank this man right here as well, because he got me places that I didn't think I would never be able to go.
That is a true blessing. That is a true blessing.
So I'm going to end this on this note. So I thank you guys, and we'll chat again, and then I'm going to move this on over to Wiz. So thank you. This is DJ Lady Jock from Music My Way, 88.1 KDHX.
88.1 KDHX. You're traveling at the speed of sound with me, G.Wiz, the time traveler, and I have the best radio in the world. It's not a transmitter. It's not stereophonic. It is the real radio, the biggest radio, bigger than Raheem's radio in the movie.
Yeah, I just watched it.
So get back, Radio Raheem, because I got the real radio, a funk and R&B vocal group formed in 1977 by Ray Parker Jr. with Vince Bonham, Jerry Knight, and Arnell Carmichael. That's right. Raydio and Ray Parker Jr. recorded 6 top 20 R&B albums, 5 of them top 10, 14 top 20 and R&B songs, as well as 13 top 40 pop tunes. In 2014, the original members, Arnell Carmichael and Vincent Bonham, revived Raydio, and they recruited 2 new members, James Carmichael and the up-and-coming young vocalist. Yes, he's still young, people. Giovanni Rogers. And that's who we have in the house today. And I just want you to like glue yourself to your radio, no pun intended, because radio is here. What's going on, y'all?
Hey,
All right,
what's
all right.
going on? Hi. Love that intro, man. That was great, man.
I'm going to say, I'm going to start this from the top. Yes, Arnell, I know your pops had a record company,
Right.
D-Town.
D-Town,
That's
yeah.
right. And you was on the same block and good friends with the Gordy family and all of
Wow.
that.
Wow, you really did some research. Wow.
Where'd you find that at?
I'm a researcher, musical entertainment. I got to just let the people know some things, and then you're going to share some things with them too that they didn't know, because they didn't know. Some of them didn't know that one of the original members, Jerry Knight, had
Yes,
his
sir.
own solo career.
Sure did.
Tell them about the 2 major songs that he did that was in movie soundtracks. Let them know about that.
Well, the first song that I remember would be Overnight Sensation, but I don't know if that was in a movie or not. But
That was his solo. Yes, that's
yeah,
his
that was
solo
on the
hit.
first record.
Yes.
So he does the second album, and then some things kind of went awry. But he gets together with Ollie Brown, who is one of the drummers in the radio career, who they work on There's No Stopping Us. Not Ain't No Stopping Us, but There's No
Stopping.
And that was my first platinum record.
Really?
Yeah, I sang in the background on that and got the platinum record for Ghostbusters and There's No Stopping Us almost in the same month.
What?
Yeah.
Where mine at? I didn't get mine. I was breaking.
Yeah.
You're breaking that.
You're breaking in the movie.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Because he did Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo also.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure he got other music in some movies, but that was uniquely special because I was not living in California. And so they actually asked me to come back and hang out, and now all of that stuff happened. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
He also wrote all of the Jets hits.
The Jets?
Yeah.
Jets.
The Kids?
Yep.
Okay.
You know, how did you know that I never told you? Found out I got a crush on you. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's all Jerry Knight.
Yep.
It sounds like it too. It sounds like
it does. I said that too.
You know, okay. So your debut album dropped in 1978, the year I graduated.
Okay.
And went top 10.
Right.
Jack and Jill was a top 10 on the US pop chart. And it also included the top. What was that? In Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And it included the top 20 R&B single, Is This a Love Thing?
Right.
Okay. Now, I'm going to just say this. I don't know anybody that don't like the song Jack and Jill, but Arnell.
Yes, sir.
I heard it took a long time for you to like it.
Oh yeah, it did.
Why?
For real.
Why?
Well, we came from a group called Energy. Energy MC Square was a well-rounded music machine. They could play anything from Jimi Hendrix to Tower of Power. So as a guy who had came from an R&B family group called the Carmichael Movement, and then going into Energy. So we doing like, ain't no only so much oil in the ground, We were doing they had me singing Minnie Riperton songs. I sang all kind of songs with that group. And so when I got to Ray, it was just it was so easy that I almost couldn't do it. It took me 14 hours to sing that song. And I will never forget it. He wasn't going to give up. And I really thought that was admirable of Ray to say, "No, nah, you're going to get it. We'll come back." And so he worked on that record in like almost one day, right? So it's hard for me to believe, because at the time I was married, you want to take care of your family. You want this to be the hit that takes care of your life.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is happening at the same time. But I still even said in a Cashbox interview, I had to just be quiet. I had to keep my mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted it to happen. I wanted it to happen. As much as I could possibly say, I sang on a hit, I didn't believe it. We were in, I think, Florida. We were in Florida, and we got to go record going through the airport. And I said, okay, it's real now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I knew it was real.
So that 14 hours of work that it took you to sing that, but it took Jerry Knight 2 takes, by the way.
Practically 2 takes. That's right.
But it don't matter. You still got this boat got gold records.
There you go.
Yeah, we all did the work. Yeah, that's
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, it's the end result.
Right.
So how much pressure did the group feel being the first African-American group on Arista that was fully promoted? Because you even had a music video.
Thank you for saying it, because a lot of people don't really understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And even at that time, because we were with Ray's production company, we still didn't feel the effects of being the first Afro-American group on a extremely white label, right? So with that kind of feeling, it then came when you start going out on tour with Bootsy, when you go out on tour with Frankie Beverly Mays, Rick James, Kool and the Gang, when you start doing all of that, then you realize what does it mean to be the first act on a label, because that's how much power was on the streets. Victor Givens, Richard Smith, Hank Talbert, all these Black record promoters were working for Clive Davis. And their job was exclusively to go to all of the different radio stations across the country and play. Now, at the same time that's going on, then I don't even know all of the white counterparts. So Radio's records were played over a wide frequency of radio stations, from country western to, or let's say white pop radio stations. AM was the thing when we started, but it wasn't the thing when we finished, because by the time you get to A Woman Needs Love, AM radio's gone.
Right.
So in the start of that and how big it was, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people don't know this, and I'm gonna say this. When Clive Davis gave that party where he put it on television for 25 years of Arista, I was mad as hell that he didn't say anything about Ray Parker or radio at all. That was really like just a slap in the face. But it feels good to be able to talk with you and celebrate the fact that we were the first Black act on that label. So there you go.
Yeah. See? But let me ask you this. Since we in that realm right now.
Okay, go ahead.
When did Jerry Knight leave? And did it have anything to do with him dating the president of Arista Records in England?
Well, you really been stuck. Okay, Vincent, go ahead.
We left in of September 1978.
Y'all was on the Down the Shore show.
Right, exactly.
How did it feel the moment? And how fast do you think the videotape was edited when she called you Ray Parker?
That's a good question, because I keep looking at the internet wondering, is that ever going to pop up? Because they had to edit that thing that same day. you know, and it did happen for sure. It happened too, because she walked right up to me and said, "Hi, Ray, how you doing?" And I didn't know what to say. I was like, "What do I say to that one?" That was deep, man. That was really. That's when I knew. Wait a minute, and that's when I knew Cavallo and Ruffalo were not managing me. I knew they were managing Ray.
Yeah. So the second album, Rock On, went to the top 10 in the U.S. R&B charts and included You Can't Change That, which was another top 10 U.S. pop hit. And the next two albums, Two Places at the Same Time and A Woman Needs Love, were released under the name Ray Parker Jr. and Raydio, both top 10 R&B albums. And A Woman Needs Love was the group's first #1 album. Both album and the single, which included the instrumental for those who like the groove out there. You know, and a few years later, why was it Clive Davis that influenced Ray Parker to put his name up front?
First of all, Clive wanted Ray to be a solo artist because he was widely respected as a songwriter, but he wanted to have fun. Here's a guy now, what, like 20 years old, Vincent? 20, 21 years old. He's practically got $1 million. So who wants to be stuck under what we thought then, you know, you being a singer, first of all, singing, you know, they wanted to push him to the forefront, and he wasn't a singer. He wasn't noted for that. He was noted for songwriting and a professional guitarist. So at that point, after 78 and Vincent and Jerry are gone, we do now Rock On, and we get to the Two Places album. The rest of us were trying to really hold on to something Clive didn't want it to even happen. And Ray, now we're going to get a little technical here, from a business standpoint of money, he didn't want to keep everybody on retainer. You know, even though you're making money, you now build your own personal studio, he still had this aspiration and was doing independent, a lot of other independent stuff, from making films and doing all those kind of things, where it wasn't about radio. You know, radio was not an afterthought, but it just wasn't the thought. And I've said this many times, so I want to say this right here. I wish I had been smart enough to walk into Arista and say, "You son of a," I want a deal, you know, but I didn't do that. I had my own personal problems at the time, and the deal was kind of implemented for me to get. But when you're young, you're in love, and you're married, you go through the changes, you don't think about what you think about is how am I going to be successful tomorrow morning? Because tonight, you know, it's cool, but tomorrow morning is going to be a whole nother story when she wakes up, right?
Right.
So for Ray, that's what the deal was. So when it got to, let's say, You Can't Change That is on Rock On. Two Places is on the Two Places album, I think that album, right? So that was set up. But I think what Ray did, and I've never said this, so this is an exclusive, I think that he realized it even stronger that they were dead serious, because he's now making money. His records are making money. So he writes A Woman Needs Love. I had actually sang some of that song, and for some reason he decided he didn't like the way it felt. And I said, "Well, sing your own song." So he sang the song, of course, and here we are. But I think that was a part of his plan, because even at that point, I wasn't sure if I would get the push. I just had to figure out what to do.
I was going to ask you that. How many versions of A Woman Needs Love is there? Because I know you did a version.
Yeah, no, but it's not. He would never release that.
He wouldn't. It wasn't released,
because he actually the other part of that story would be this. Okay, so I sing maybe a verse and a chorus, trying to figure out if we really liked it. He didn't really like it, so then he comes back that night, because he wrote it about one of his girlfriends, and he re-sings it based upon what he heard. You know, everybody's like, "Well, maybe you should sing it." So he sings the song, right? But those versions, Ray, because he owned the studio. A lot of people don't have this power. He could erase or delete or re-record whatever because he owns the studio. One of the most beautiful things about radio that I loved, Ray Parker being in that camp, was unlimited studio time. Never had to worry about the bill, never had to worry about what to say. Ray used to say to me all the time, I'm not letting them record company people in here while I'm cutting my song because I don't want them to tell me what to do with it. Now, nobody knows this because me and Ray talk about it all the time. He was going to erase A Woman Needs Love. And I told him, don't erase it. I said, man, stop the machine. Nah, it's a good song. Don't erase it. And here we are to this day.
So, two things. Is it correct to say that radio never broke up, but they dissolved?
Yeah, I would say that the dissolve happened because Ray and I never stopped. I mean, believe me when I tell you this, I actually left California, came back to Detroit, was not thinking about doing any more. Vincent, Johnny don't know what Vincent tell you. I wasn't thinking no more about music, didn't want to sing no music, didn't want to be a part of no music. Vincent called me and told me I needed to audition for Tower Power, and I said, hell no. So I walked away, but guess what? So one day I'm sitting at the table, I'll never forget this. I'm sitting at the table and I said, you know what? I need some money. Let me call up Ray Parker and see if there's any royalties that I have acquired from all those years gone by. And guess what he said?
Nope.
You better go back to work. That's exactly what he said. He said, you better go back to work. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, we're going to start back up and we're going to celebrate Jerry Knight's life, you know, because he had died.
Right. And
I said, okay, cool. And so we have been working ever since. I mean, a lot of people don't know, 99, 2000. I mean, we have been going back and forth from Japan anyway. But the break that happened for me, Ray on his side had a break because his mother and father died.
Right.
So we come back and do Ghostbusters as a background scenario and other release scenario. And then I go back again to Detroit. Now, in between there, if I had quit, I would have called him and said, I quit, you son of a gun. I tried to get in the Daz band, didn't work. I tried to get in other groups. It just didn't work. And voila, it just, radio still is what it is. Now, somewhere, what is this, 21, somewhere around, I guess, 12 or 11 or something like that, 2011, Ray says to me, well, you know, you could have been to radio and did your thing. And I was looking at him like, what? He was like, yeah, you could have had radio going. I just didn't want to do it. So here we are. I do reactivation. But I had the permission to do it.
But you was doing a project. You was doing a jazz project with Alan Barnes, rest in peace.
Yeah, I was doing, well, that came later too. Doing in between the radio stuff, we was always going in and out because Alan would go out with the Blackbirds. Well, you know, for the listeners, right? So I hit flat but broke. I lost a big $200,000 deal, which is a whole nother business. And all I had left was my life and my guitar, no family. I got my kids around me once in a while. And I said, you know what? I guess I ain't got no choice. I got to go back and really do this for real. So I was playing with the Blackbirds, or Alan Barnes' version of the Blackbirds. And we did like a 10-year run or 8-year run, something like that, at Baker's Keyboard Lounge, where every first of the month, you know, we do it. Alan dies the 7th or 8th year. And it just catapulted me right into this. Like, okay, so you want to worry about, is Ray Parker coming to play guitar? No, I'm there. I'm playing guitar. So it's kind of like, you know, just a 360 happen, a yin and a yang. In radio's kind of career things like a yin and a yang, where in order to survive in the music business, you have to recreate yourself. So the Blackbirds was kind of like the support for me to get through the final part of recreation. Love those guys. So Kevin Tony, Keith Kilgo, you know, Orville. I love those guys, man. That is an awesome group. Awesome
Yes.
group.
Yes. Most people know that this is a New Edition thing, but
Oh
is it
Lord.
true
Yeah.
that Mr. Telephone Man was written for you?
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean,
Wow.
even as we have this, it's kind of like, I feel sad. I just feel
Wow.
like, I never forget this one day. I was at home because I stayed on Burbank Boulevard, which is maybe a mile away from where the studio was. And so Ray had been telling me about this song he was doing, and he had actually called me up and said, "Can you sing some of the melody on the phone?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." So I didn't actually hear the title, Mr. Telephone Man, but the melody I knew. And I was like, okay, cool, I got it. So something happened with me and my family, and I couldn't go to the studio for him to record. I said, I'll come in give me a couple of days, right? So within that week, he gets a call because he's in Detroit. He gets a call from, I think the guy's Maurice Starr or whatever, one of them guys who was New Edition or something like that. Called him up and offered him a bunch of money. And that was it. I never forget coming back and going to the studio, knocking on the door, coming into American Studio. And there's Ray standing there with New Edition. And they're singing. I'm like, ain't that my song? So I just turned around. I was like, I'll talk to you later, man. I'm gone, But yeah, it's a true story. Business is business.
So, but besides these people, besides Leo Sayer, Latoya.
Whoa. Did you hear that song? Oh man, I hate that song, man. Never play that song, okay?
You sung with a lot of people. I mean, No, who did you like working with, and what song that you sung with in the different people you've sung with or groups that you really felt like you did your thing?
Oh, it's interesting. That's a very interesting question because even with Ray, first of all, I really love the Ray Parker radio or whatever you want to call it, that catalog. All of those songs, I mean, over a lifetime, I can see myself progressing. Because what people don't know is when You Can't Change That happened, that was a revenge record for me. That was like, I got to do better because Jerry had just killed the first single. He just sang the ad lib so beautifully on the end and all that. And I was like, am I ever going to get a chance to redo this? And now You Can't Change That. Now, there have been many records that fall under that category because I worked with what's that? A white guy guitar player, Richard Marx. So I'm singing with the Daz band, and they had a song called Old Flame. That was like me sounding like Freddie Jackson. I did another song with Neptali Santiago, which was from Mandrill. That is on Discog if you want to hear it. And I actually sang really nice, did a great job, never got paid, and he never says Arnell Carmichael. So I do all of that work, and it was because of the guys like Ray Parker, Sylvester Rivers, Horatio Gordon. A lot of people used to tell me, man, even Vincent here would tell me, do more stuff. And our motto was always, you got to get up and go work. Don't be in the bed asleep. You got to get up and go work. So I sang on a lot of stuff from a background session or a session singer that a lot of people don't have the opportunity now to do because those avenues were open then, where you could get that kind of work. I've never been in a situation where I've been over admiring somebody or just saying they're greater. I've always thought I can do that too. I can sing it just as good. Give me the shot, I'll do it. Stuff like that. But I didn't go and audition for other groups unless I got the call from them personally. And my biggest one would be the Dazz Band. I really like those songs. I really love what they did with the career when they were putting it together.
Mm-hmm.
So I would
Okay.
think it would be the Dazz Band. Yeah.
Okay.